All right, guys, I think we're rolling here, so we'll go ahead and get to it. I'm going to cover 4.3 today, so it kind of shifts. Yes, did you not get one? It kind of shifts gears a little bit. The first two lessons have been all about graphing. In 4.1, graphing, if given an equation in vertex form. In 4.2, graphing if given an equation in standard form. And now we'll do less graphing today and more algebraic kind of stuff. Our learning target is I can find an equation of a parabola given 3 points. So that's kind of one type of problem. And then can also find maximum and minimum values. So kind of talking about the vertex on that. That deals more with your word problems. Okay. So example one and example two are the same type of problem. We are going to be given 3 points, and we want to, or it wants us to give the equation in standard form that produces those 3 points. So we have done a similar problem to this. In 4.1, we kind of use vertex form, where we could use a vertex and any other point to produce an equation. But that doesn't work necessarily for this one because if I look at my 3 points, it's not obvious unless they tell me, is one of these my vertex? Maybe, but I don't know. And then also, if we had to go from vertex form to standard form, that's a whole nother can of worms, okay? Which is doable, but anyways, this is just a different strategy. I will tell you before I do this one, as you can see, kind of broken down real step by step there. If you don't like the way I do this, I sent out, I'm making the video for this right now. I made I sent you another video that shows it another way. So if you don't like my way today, you could maybe watch the video there. It might be more helpful on the homework. Okay. So with all that said, let's go ahead and do this thing. Okay. So step one is we use our y-intercept. So you're looking where x equals 0. And it says sub in to standard form, which is this. But we don't really have to. We can kind of simplify that a little bit. We've already kind of been told and gone over that the y-intercept is at 0, comma c. Okay, so anytime x equals 0, your other number is c. Your y value is c. Okay, so just from that definition, we can tell that c equals 0, right? Again, looking at that point there. All right, so we've kind of already done step one then, and we will use that at the end, right? So again, where we're ultimately trying to get, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to step 6, is y equals what times x squared plus what times x plus what, right? And we just found the last what. C is 0. All right, now the other two, A and B, are a little bit tougher to find. We have to use those other points in order to get that done. So going ahead and doing step 2, use one of the 2 other points and sub it in. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to use -1, 2, subbed into standard form. Okay, so instead of y equals, we go 2 equals a times, and then x gets plugged in twice. Okay, so it's a times -1 squared plus b times -1, and then of course c is 0. All right, so then we just kind of simplify that equation, right? So sometimes that plus 0 is a plus 3 or something, so you would just minus 3 from both sides. In this case, you don't need to do that. But we do need to simplify the right side nonetheless. So we have 2 equals a times -1 squared. -1 squared is 1, so that's just 1a. B times -1 is -1b, so we just say minus b. So 2 equals a minus b. So that's as simple as we can get it. So we move on. to step 3, which is sub in your other non-y-intercept point, which in this case was, what was it, 1, 6. So this one's going to have 6 equals a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus 0. So then we can go a little quicker on this one. Clean up the right side. We get 6 equals a plus b, right? 1 squared is 1. That's my coefficient of a. 1 is 1. That's my coefficient of b. So a plus b. So now what we do there, we created a 2-variable system, that and that, that's super easy and set up perfectly for elimination. So then we move into the next phase, which is solve for a and b. So I'm going to call this over here step 4 and 5 combined. I'm just going to recopy those 2 equations. So 2 equals a minus b, and 6 equals a plus b. The ones on Math Excel may be slightly tougher than this in that you have to multiply one or both equations. Here we're ready to go ahead and add because b's are already opposite. So we'll add them together and solve for a and b. So once I add, I get 8 is equal to 2a. Divide by 2 to get 4 is equal to 1a. And then use a to find b. So sub in either in the top or the bottom. I'll go ahead and sub into the bottom equation. So 6 equals 4 plus b, which tells me that b equals 2. So then when it's all said and done, we have a, b, and c. A is 4, b is 2, and we already said c is 0. So then we just sub it all in and make it look pretty. So 4 times x squared plus 2 times x plus 0, which we would type into Math Excel or write on a test as y equals 4x squared plus 2x. Last thing I would say is if it is a Math Excel problem, you just type it in and hit check answer. If it is a test problem, just to kind of cover all your bases, it may be smart to type that in as your function, right? So 4x squared plus 2x. And maybe just go over your table and see if that parabola really does make those 3 points. So kind of going back to the top. So make sure it goes through 0, 0, right? So go to where x is 0, so that works. Make sure it goes through -1, 2. So where x is -1, y is 2. At that point, you can feel pretty good. And then we can really confirm if we look at it goes through 1, 6, and it does. Okay. So anyways, so I know that's a lot, but what I want you to try to do now is try one. Instead of giving you time and then working it out at the end, I'm going to work it quietly while you're working, so that if you're not there yet, you can just copy it down, or if you get stuck on a step, you can reference the board. Okay, but if you can, kind of work you and your partner maybe, and then check at the end. Okay, that would be ideal. But if you're not there yet, you're not there yet. Okay, so I'm going to work this one out quietly, and you guys feel free to talk. Okay, let me know if you have a question though. All right, so here we go. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So -1, -2
Mm-hmm.
on here, and then it says -1 and 2.
Oh, it does. You're right. Yeah.
So when you did that, were you using just values from here? Or were you
I
using-
think I must have plugged in -1, -2. No, I did. Wait. -1, -2. So let's see. Why did it work when I did it? Oh, it does take -1 to 2. You're right. I did do it wrong. Yeah. I'll come back to that. Right. I read the typo. Yeah. So we
We
did.
solved for these instead of that.
Right. Yeah. So I'll go back to that. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No, thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. There was an error in example 1 that we'll address at the end. Okay. So let's go ahead and just keep working with this example. Yeah. Just sign out.